Hello and welcome to the podcast of Lara, Fuge
and Inga, Spiegel
on the topic of online activism and celebrities. Enjoy!
Celebrities are like repeaters. Repeaters are the towers that you see at the top of mountains that pick up signals from the valley and carry them over the mountains to a broader audience. And that's what celebrities do if we're doing our job right. We're picking up the voices of people who can't be heard and broadcasting their story. Quote by Jane Fonda, 2017.
Lately we wrote a review about the text Understanding a Digital Movement of Opinion, the Case of #Refugees Welcome by Baricione, Michailidou and Arioldi. The text of our review got us thinking about the role of celebrities and activism. In the text, the authors want to shed light on how people are voicing their opinions online and how these voices are amplified into one and can thus change the public political discourse and influence policymaking. For this purpose, the authors developed a model of a digital movement of opinion, in short, DMO, which combines aspects of public opinion and social movement on a digital level. The authors define a DMO as follows. It arises spontaneously in an unorganized way, developing its own dynamics, reaching a mass audience on social media. It occurs as a reaction to a politically relevant event or issue that has already been featured by news media. A DMO represents rather a collection of unquestioned statements of support or opposition of one specific issue than a thought-provoking or enriching discussion of the issue in which arguments are exchanged, thereby creating a monolithic voice. A DMO is structured in a homogeneous, hierarchical and elite-driven way. And exactly this characterization of a DMO as hierarchical got us thinking about the role of celebrities and activism as well as performative activism. In the article, the authors are doing an analysis of the hashtag Refugees Welcome on Twitter, finding out that there are only few original tweets by the social media elite, which are accounts that acquired public recognition and a reputation, such as those of NGOs, institutions or celebrities, which function as the main hubs and are retweeted by the masses, thereby creating the hierarchical structure. The most retweeted tweet at this time was by former One Direction member Harry Styles, who is now one of the biggest living pop stars. His tweet from the 5th of September 2015 said, "Take a stand with us and save children UK. Help make refugees welcome." The tweet was directly retweeted over 122,585 times from his Twitter account and was also the most visible #Refugees Welcome tweet throughout the entire monitoring period of the researchers. But this massive echo that Harry Styles' tweet created cannot tell too much about the real commitment and attention people direct towards the refugee crisis. This raises the question for us if this kind of activism is really helping or not.
Yeah, thank you, Lara, for this nice little introduction. But I think what you forgot to mention is when you talked about Harry Styles and his far-reaching tweet, is that it actually was his only visible online engagement with this topic. So it might have a great reach, but you couldn't really say that it's great or huge contribution to the topic or to the issue at all, because it's maybe just performative when you see that he's only posting it once or just at the peak of the crisis, because a few days before there was this picture of Aylan Kori, the little boy in the sand at the beach, and which went really viral. And to post something at this point is really easy.
So you wouldn't count it as real activism?
No, I would say that it's performative activism, because it does not really serve the cause, but it's actually used to increase your own social reputation or your social capital, whatever you want to call it, but just for your own benefit and for your fans to see that you engage in this topic, but you actually might not be that engaged or thoughtful about it and really into the topic and the issue.
Yeah, okay, I can understand your point, but like we were asking ourselves the question if this kind of activism is really helping or not, and I would argue that even if it might be just performative, it still helps to shed light on issues, and in this case of Harry Styles' tweet, it shed light on the issue of the refugee crisis, or the so-called refugee crisis. And yeah, like he has a huge following on his social media accounts, and I would say if only one person who hasn't thought about the issue before but sees his post, they might start thinking about it because their idol has been outspoken about it. So I would say that even though it might be performative, I would still say that this kind of activism can help the issue.
Yeah, I think there are some other points we should also take into account, and this is, for example, one point that celebrities are posting with such an outreach. They are very privileged and sometimes or often really detached from these actual problems, and they on social media you kind of live in another world and you could go back to your own problems and other things to deal with whenever you want, but you can go on social media and post one day that you feel that you stand in solidarity with the affected people, and then just go back to your daily business. And so I think it's not okay, maybe it helps to get more outreach, but it's super superficial, I think, because you don't have to engage at all. And you can also see these posts and this content on the social media platforms calling for solidarity or for donations, and you can also think, oh, this is so sad, or this is a pity, and I'm so sorry for all the affected people, but then you don't need to care because you don't have to.
Yeah, but like you just mentioned donations or like calls for donations, and I think that this could be a start for positive change, even though it's coming from celebrities who the next day might not think about the issue. People still see it and they see those calls for donations, so they can actually donate and they can start productive conversations with their social bubble. And yeah, I think this could, like, a movement or activism can really profit from this if a really famous person starts speaking about these issues. And I think if they start with this conversation, it can also make their way into talk shows or the media, because if they have a huge following, so they have like a huge voice which can then be amplified by their followers, making making it part of the social discussions.
Yeah, but I think the problem here is that these celebrities get the attention, but they should shift the attention that they get because they are so kind or show so much solidarity. Then they should use their power and make other people heard, and it shouldn't be about themselves, but giving a platform to the affected people instead of posting a rainbow flag or something, or also companies changing their logos into the colors of the rainbow. I think you would agree that changing your logo into the rainbow colors wouldn't change anything, but then it just gets meaningful when you actually use your power and your outreach to empower other people.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. Like, yeah, of course, no rainbow flag in your logo or on your products will change anything for the LGBTQI+ community. So, like, I agree that the conversation has to go deeper than that. But I think there are already some celebrities who are doing this. I think from my own social media accounts, when last year, when the Black Lives Matter protests started after George Floyd was killed by police officers. Some of the celebrities that I follow on my social media accounts, they gave the social media platform to activists who were then on their account for like a day and started speaking about the issue. So
yeah, but I think that especially with this Black Lives Matter movement, you could also give false information and then it could really backfire. This was the case with hashtag Blackout Tuesday, and they posted just black tiles, so with no content or anything, but to use the hashtag and for the BLM community to connect with each other and share information. But then so many people flooded this black tile campaign, this Blackout Tuesday, that it was just not possible anymore to exchange information, to make this hashtag and Instagram posting useful at all. But for everyone else who engaged and posted these tiles out of solidarity or something, they were like, on the one hand, they just kind of blocked and hindered this information exchange, and on the other hand, then they just used it to show their solidarity with their fans and have maybe also this social media pressure that all your fans and followers demand some engagement in any kind of you, so that they used or misused this campaign then. And I think so that's very harmful then, this kind of activism, when you want to call it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree that through this, it's easy for social issues to become lost in a trend like the Blackout Tuesday trend. But I also think that social media is a good platform for spreading information and drawing attention to particular topics. I mean, in this, it clearly got lost, like the message, so like we can agree on that. But still, I think that if celebrities share information on their social media, I mean, there were also like a lot of shares about where protests took place. So yeah, I think through this kind of like activism or like sharing information online, a trend or like the issue not only is posted on social media, but also come into real life. So I think like this is the point which is important, that it's not only taking place on social media. And of course, like going back to the Harry Styles tweet, we saw that he only tweeted it once and it was just online. But if something like this also takes place in the offline world, like if it swaps over to the offline world from online to offline, I think then this kind of activism can become helpful.
Yeah, I think then I agree. I think when it also goes further than just posting hashtags or black tiles and stuff or rainbow flags on Instagram, I think then it can be useful, and also with this information sharing can be a real advantage, and because it would spread maybe much faster and also reach more people. When we also go back to the very beginning of this podcast episode and take into account what Jane Fonda said, I would also like to quote Spider-Man's uncle. His name is Ben, from Queens. And he said, with great power comes great responsibility. And with great outreach on social media, you could also say, comes great responsibility. And you should always be aware, not just celebrities, but also you and me posting on social media, what that means and how it maybe affects other people.
Yeah, what I also think is important is that celebrities are actually engaging in political discussion, because I think you have to be, like, everything is political. Like you said, they have great reach, and with this comes great responsibility. So I think it is important for celebrities to be politically engaged and to be politically open, like spread information on their socials. But like we already said, the discussion also have to take place in real life. So it's not enough for them to be discussed online. It could be a start for like a discussion and for a conversation, but it has to happen in real life as well. And like you said, some activism of celebrities might be performative, but I think a way to make performative activism more meaningful can be to question your personal motivation. For example, if I see like a celebrity posting an information slide in their stories, it's not just enough to like repost it or something, but to actually question yourself, like what are you doing with this topic, to go this one step further, to put more effort into it.
Yeah, and I mean, a good example for this very point is maybe the Me Too movement, which got very viral by Elisa Milano, an actress, making the start and making sexual harassment publicly. And now we have a huge, powerful man, Harvey Weinstein, for example, convicted, which is a judgment that is, I think, very important for many people and for many women. This brought real change, but because this online Me Too debate really swept over into the offline world, and that is the important point.
So with all of the points discussed before and with our little conclusion now, we can just say that social media can act as a tool to aid activism, but it is no real substitute. It has to not only happen in the online world, but also in the offline world.
Yeah. True. This was our podcast on online activism and celebrities. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye!